The ocean doesn't care how old you are. It welcomes everyone, quietly, endlessly, with that deep blue stillness that can calm even the most restless heart. But for travelers over 65, cruising isn't just a vacation. It's a second youth, a rediscovery, a chance to move through the world again, but slower this time, softer, wiser, and with perks that most people never even notice. The funny thing? Most seniors walking up the gangway don't realize how much the ship is already built for them. Hidden comforts, gentle advantages, quiet privileges wrapped into the very rhythm of life at sea. And if you've ever thought cruising is too busy or too young, you might be missing out on an entirely different kind of experience, one that only opens up after 65. Because this isn't tea about bingo and buffets anymore. This is about rediscovering peace, connection, and little luxuries that younger passengers rush right past. Imagine this. You're standing on deck just after sunrise. The air is cool, fresh with sea salt. The only sound is the slow hum of engines below your feet, and the faint cry of a gull following the wake. Around you, the ship feels almost asleep, but not you. You've been awake since dawn, coffee in hand, watching the horizon breathe light into the sky. This is the first hidden perk of cruising after 65. Time. You feel it differently. You notice things that others miss. The hush before the ship wakes up. The way crew members nod to you like old friends. The calm corners that most passengers never even see. Because while the rest of the crowd races to the pool deck or the breakfast buffet, you've already found your secret spot. A little shaded bench near the bow where the breeze feels like silk. That moment of peace? That's not an accident. Cruise designers actually plan these spaces for passengers like you. Places meant for reflection, for rest, for those who want the sea, not the spectacle. And here is something even most frequent cruisers don't know. Many cruise lines quietly give seniors priority treatment, but not in obvious ways. It's subtle. Maybe it's the extra time you get during check-in, the early boarding call that isn't advertised, or the staff member who always remembers your name. Because to the crew, seasoned travelers are more than passengers. They're storytellers, people who've lived through decades of change, who understand patience and gratitude. Crew members often say older guests are their favorites, not because of tips or titles, but because of the calm presence they bring to the chaos of cruise life. One former steward once said, "When I see an older guest, I don't see a customer. I see my grandfather on vacation. I take care of them like family." That quiet care runs deep through every level of the ship. It's why senior cruisers often get upgraded rooms without even knowing it. Why guest services sometimes happens to call and check in more often. Why dinner staff remembers how you like your soup, not by luck, but intention. Because cruising after 65 isn't just about discounts. It's about dignity, about how the sea treats you when you've earned the right to slow down. But here's the secret most passengers never realize. The longer you've lived, the more the ship bends toward your rhythm. While younger travelers chase adventure, rushing from trivia contests to poolside parties, the ship quietly transforms for you at certain hours. Late mornings, early evenings, quiet lounges and music that plays soft enough to hear the ocean between notes. Cruise lines don't advertise this, but they design entire atmospheres for different ages at different times of day. The mornings belong to serenity. Afternoons hum with families. Nights belong to dreamers. And seniors? You often get the best parts. The calm between waves of noise. You can feel it in the spa, too. Around mid-morning, when the gym empties and the saunas glow softly, it becomes a sanctuary. Staff call it the golden hour. That's when older guests appear, robes wrapped tight, faces soft with peace. No rush, no noise, just stillness. If you've never watched the horizon from a spa deck at 10 a.m. while the younger crowd sleeps off the night before, you've never really cruised. And yet, for all the calm and comfort, there's another hidden advantage few talk about: freedom. When you're younger, cruising feels like a checklist. How many ports can you see? How many excursions can you fit in? How much can you do? But after 65, it shifts. It's not about doing anymore, it's about being. That's the secret. The older you are, the less you chase the schedule, and the more the ship gives itself to you. Crew members notice it too. They'll tell you that the most content guests on board aren't the ones rushing through activities, but the ones sitting quietly near a window smiling at the sea. And here's the thing: the cruise industry knows it. They've quietly built loyalty programs and perks around it. Behind the fancy marketing, there are entire systems meant to reward repeat. Older guests, private invitations, special dinners, early booking privileges, all hidden under polite language like guest recognition events. It is the industry's quiet way of saying thank you to those who've seen enough of the world to truly appreciate it. And maybe the biggest perk of all? Connection. Many older travelers say they meet more genuine people on cruises than anywhere else. It is not just small talk, it is the kind of connection that comes when you have time to listen. There's something about the sea that opens people up. You sit beside someone at dinner, and within minutes, you're swapping stories about places you've both seen decades apart. Or you meet a crew member from halfway around the world who reminds you of your son or daughter. By the third day, you know their stories, their dreams, their families. And when you disembark, it feels like leaving a small floating village where everyone knows your name. Cruising after 65 isn't lonely, it's the opposite. It's community, born from shared quiet moments. But here's the truth no brochure mentions. The best perks aren't printed. They're felt. It's the comfort of waking up each morning with a new view outside your window. The sound of room service knocking softly at 7 a.m. with your favorite breakfast tray. The little wave from the cabin attendant who's memorized your routine. These are the invisible perks, the kind that don't show up in booking details, but in memories. And maybe that's what cruising after 65 is really about. Learning to enjoy the little luxuries that were always there, waiting for you to slow down enough to notice them. Because at sea, the smallest moments can feel eternal. The truth is, every cruise has two versions. The one the brochures show you, glossy, loud, and filled with smiling faces by the pool. And the quieter one, hidden between decks, just waiting for those who know how to see it. And for passengers over 65, that second world unfolds like a secret diary. Because once you've cruised a few times, once you've learned how to move through the ship like it's your second home, you start to see the things others don't. The little luxuries that are never listed, the unspoken kindnesses that only appear when you've earned them through time, patience, and grace. Take dining, for instance. Younger passengers rush toward the main buffet, plates stacked high, moving fast. But if you've sailed before, if you've learned the rhythm, you know the real meals aren't there. The real meals are in the quiet. There's always that one dining room tucked away at the back, often half empty, where the service feels like an old friend greeting you at their home. Ask kindly, and the staff will tell you something the cruise lines never announce. There is a hidden menu. You won't find it on paper. You'll only hear about it if you ask, or if you've sailed enough times to be remembered. Maybe it's a made-to-order breakfast, cooked exactly how you like it, with no crowds and no noise. Maybe it's a special soup the chef prepares for older guests. Lighter, easier on the stomach. A quiet gesture of care. One former cruise chef once said, "For our older guests, we always try to cook from memory, not menus." Because for seniors, dining isn't just about food. It's about comfort. It's about being seen. And that is one of the most beautiful unspoken truths about cruising after 65. You are not a booking number anymore. You're part of the ship's story. Then there's the spa. Most passengers see it as an indulgence. massages, saunas, and fancy facials. But for older guests it becomes something more profound. What they don't tell you in the ads is that these sessions are often discounted or offered quietly to returning senior guests. You won't find it on the app or the website. You have to ask, or sometimes a kind spa attendant simply offers. It's their way of saying thank you. A whisper rather than a headline. And that's how most of these hidden perks exist. In whispers. But here's one most people truly don't know. Priority medical access. On every major cruise ship, there's a medical center that rivals small hospitals. While most passengers hope they'll never need it, seniors unknowingly benefit from one of the industry's quietest systems of care. Crew members are trained to discreetly monitor older guests, not in an invasive way, but in a protective one. If someone misses dinner or looks unwell, it doesn't go unnoticed. There's a silent network of eyes and hearts watching out for them. Former crew nurses say they're taught to remember names, habits. It's compassion turned into protocol. And that means for many seniors, a cruise ship can actually be one of the safest places to travel. Safer than airports, safer than cities, safer even than some resorts. And then there's something far more subtle. The emotional connection between crew and older passengers. You can feel it in the way they talk to you, the way they listen. For crew members who spend months, even years, away from their own parents or grandparents, older passengers fill a space in their hearts. There's a silent bond. Small acts of kindness that never show up on the cruise itinerary. An extra blanket folded carefully on your bed. A handwritten note wishing you a happy morning. A cup of tea waiting for you in the lounge, just the way you like it. Ask any crew member who's been on board for years, and they'll tell you, our ship's soul belongs to the older guests. But perhaps the most underrated perk is this: freedom from time. On land, everything is scheduled: appointments, calls, errands, reminders. At sea, those things disappear. The older you are, the more you understand the gift of slowness, the beauty of simply being. You start waking with the sunrise, sleeping when you please. There's no rush to see everything, because you already know. The best moments happen when you stop chasing them. You find yourself sitting at the ship's railing, not because it's on the itinerary, but because you love the rhythm of the waves. You start to smile more easily. You notice more details. The color of the water changes, the shape of the clouds, the laughter of the young couple walking by. And in those quiet hours, cruising becomes something sacred. Not an escape, but a return. There's another secret, though few passengers realize it. Every ship has hidden decks, not restricted, but overlooked. Places where the wind feels different, where the hum of the engines becomes a lullaby. Ask the right crew member, politely, kindly, and they might tell you where to go. A small door at the end of a corridor, a forgotten stairwell that leads to a deck few know exists. That's where older guests often find the peace they came for. A private horizon, a quiet bench, a sky that feels infinite. That moment, that view, becomes your own private memory. Something that no one else on the ship even knows happened. And here's something few ever talk about: legacy. When you cruise after 65, something shifts in your heart. You stop collecting souvenirs and start collecting moments. You start thinking about what these journeys mean. The laughter, the sunrises, the people you've met. Maybe it's your last cruise. Maybe it's your 50th. But either way, the ship becomes part of your life's story. Many senior travelers leave little traces of themselves behind. A note of gratitude to the crew, a smile that lingers in a steward's memory, a quiet kindness that ripples through the voyage long after they've disembarked. Those small moments are the ones that matter most. Because at the end of the day, the greatest hidden perk of cruising after 65 isn't a discount or a luxury. It's the way the sea reminds you of who you are. Still adventurous, still curious, still alive with wonder. The ocean doesn't see your age. It sees your courage. As the sun sets behind the ship, the light scatters across the deck, turning the sea into molten gold. The sound of distant laughter drifts from the dining hall, and the wind carries the faint echo of music, soft, slow, timeless. You take a deep breath, the kind that fills your chest with salt and serenity. And in that moment you realize, cruising isn't about escaping life. It's about feeling it again. Every sunrise, every conversation, every gentle wave against the hull is a reminder that joy doesn't fade with age. It just deepens. Because out here, beyond the shore and the schedules, you haven't gotten older. You've simply gotten closer to the world, to yourself, and to the endless horizon ahead. If the ocean could speak, it would say this: you made it. You're still here. You're still moving forward. Cruising after 65 isn't to just travel. It is proof that wonder doesn't retire. So next time you step aboard, don't rush. Don't overpack. Don't try to do everything. Just breathe. Listen. And let the ship carry you, not just across the sea, but back to the best version of yourself. Because the sea never forgets those who travel with an open heart. If you love stories like this, make sure to subscribe, because there is a whole ocean of secrets still waiting to be discovered.